Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and thought I'd give you an update on my model railway exploits, and been working on this video since Christmas week. I've got 3 versions of it sat on my desktop and they're all going in a bin because I chopped and changed around and realized I was just trying to fit too much into one video. So essentially I'm now modeling in 3 main scales, technically 5, but actually let's just do a rundown of the 5. So starting in the smallest, N scale, Japanese. This is a relatively new thing. It's just a loop of track at the minute and a pocket line little EMU from Kato. Next up, 009. At the moment I'm just using the same loop of Kato Unitrack and a 3D printed body on a Kato chassis. That will be expanded, but we'll come back to them later because there's nothing really to show at the moment on those, and when I do I'll probably do a video of both together. Next up is HO, American, and I said that's the next one because it's slightly smaller than 00, which is what we use in the UK. I'm keep expanding my HO stuff. I really need to do a video of it. I really need to get my model, which is up there on top of the cabinet. I've got an ingle nook for HO and it's been neglected for more years than I care to count. So we'll come back to that later in the year. Then the 00, which is the main thing, which as you can see, the rear side of Outwell Village, which is part of the NCMA modular layout. I have that, and I also have a loop test track, but I've added vastly to rolling stock. So let's cover that. So that's 4. The 5th one is UK O gauge. Now I always said no, I haven't got room for O gauge. Can't do it, despite the fact that I brought the hatchet part work many years ago. I don't know exactly how many years ago it was, but it's the mallard part work, so that will date it. I still have that all in separate bags ready to be built, but I've just put it off. I was like, I need space to do O gauge and I don't have it, and I'm now in another flat or apartment for you American guys that do watch the channel, and still don't have room really for O gauge for the mallard at least. But there's the Rustin 48 that was announced by Helen, and as I work with Laurie Rose from LMM on his full-size Sir William, as well as the restoration of the other Rustin 48 he acquired from the scrapyard, I figured, if they're doing an O gauge Sir William, I really need a Sir William McAlpine in O gauge for myself. And then I thought, well, can I make room for a shunting layout? And that's what we're going to look at today, is my O gauge exploits. So, without further ado, shall we jump into it? So, moving over to the dining room table first of all, you can see my O gauge Sir William, a couple of wagons, and this rather large, impressive looking crossover. So we'll start off with the crossover first because there's a bit of history to this. It's made by Mills Brothers in Sheffield, and at best guess, from what I can tell, it's somewhere around 60 to 70 years old. So this is proper old school O gauge. And as you can see, it's rather chunky, and it's steel rail, which is an issue, and it has some all metal cabling that's attached randomly to the bottom, and as he says that, a piece of it is broken off. So yeah, this looks like it's actually copper. I can see some brightness there, but essentially, yeah, I can't work out how they would have powered this in the day, whether it be 3-rail or some other. I mean, it's not 3-rail because there is no 3rd rail. But yeah, there was some way that Oage back in the day was powered that is very different to today. And you can actually see there are some pins all the way down. So maybe this was 3-rail. That would actually make sense why there's pins, although there's none here. But anyway, so I came across this when I was looking for a track for Oage, and I think it was £25, something like that, on eBay. And I thought, you know what, for that sort of money, I'll put a cheeky bid, see what happens. Didn't know the history or provenance of it. All I knew was it was old, and somehow I ended up winning. So let's go into the pros and cons of actually using this. So let's go over the cons first of all. Firstly, the track here has broken away from the switch rail. So that's going to need some soldering. So as of now, not really in a usable state. But then it's not really in a usable state anyway, because I'm not, excuse me, I'm not sure how to electrically power it. Because the problem is, if we imagine these rails are positive and these are negative. So this is one continuous rail. So you've got positive and negative meeting with the way we would currently wire stuff up. So I'm going to need, if I'm going to use this, I would need to break these 2 rails here so that this would be permanently positive and this could be permanently negative with a break there. There is a concern also that this guide rail is effectively going to be a positive, so I will have to consider that as well, whether I sort of again cut it there maybe just to break the electrical connection, or rely on our wheels to not make contact with both rails, which is fine on my wagon here because it's plastic wheels and there's an awful lot of play. So this is a kit built, from what I can tell, no idea how old, but they've done a reasonably good job with it, and I think I paid £20 for that. One of my NTMA colleagues, he found it in a local model shop to him, advertised it and said, oh look, there's this. I went immediately. This was before I even got anything else. That was my first Oage purchase. I was like, well, I've got the Rustin coming at some point. Please, yes, I will take that. This was a more recent eBay purchase. Again, we've got plastic wheels, so that's not an issue. Of course, when you get to the loco, we do have our metal wheels. So if that touches, and to be fair, there is a bit of flexibility there, so we probably would be okay, but I don't want to risk it. So that's another con at the minute, is I will have to modify it to actually use it. But the plus side is it is very well made. I love the chairs that are all nailed in, and the mechanism for this. So it's a single pull and push rod here, and it switches both of these at the same time. So you can either go straight forward, or if you're going from one side to the other, it switches both at once. And yeah, I just thought, you know, it deserves to be used. And if there's anyone out there that sees this and goes, no, it needs to be kept original, blah, 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 contact me, send me a message, and I will happily sell it to you. Especially if you can give me 2 individual points or a crossover in exchange. I will happily let the people who want to keep it all original do so. It is missing a split pin here, so there is just, as you can see, a drawing pin in there at the moment holding that, but yeah. Anyway, I'm beginning to waffle again, aren't I? I mean, this was supposed to be the shortened version of the video, and I'm just concentrating on O gauge, and already we're getting lost. So, anyway, going back to my Helen Rustin 48, and what bit of dust off. It's a nice model. It's got good weight to it. It runs really well. One thing that concerns me is it looks like there's wipers on the edge rather than the back side of the wheels, which always concerns me because I can already see grooves being put in, and this is run very few times, possibly 10 times, I think, just at one length of O gauge track, and already I'm seeing wear marks which are going to pick up dirt. So that's a concern. One other thing, I'm not sure how well this will show up, but the buffer beams front and rear, at the tops they actually bow out, and mine isn't the only model that does this. And geez, Helen, please, right? What is going on? That's my one big fault with the model. Like, I had one of their 00165s and had to wait over a year to get a replacement because the body doesn't fit and it's so wrong. This, the buffer beams, I've spotted it and I can't unsee it. And unfortunately, you guys probably won't unsee it now either. But I've seen other people who have got this model and they have the same issue, right? But their Class 07 Rustin in double O gauge is a marvel. It's absolutely amazing. Sprung buffers for those that like that sort of thing, but the running qualities are spot on. Everything about it is so amazing, and you think, how can they do so well with that model? And then the other 2 Hellions I've had, one in O gauge, one in double O, there's such glaring issues that really should have been stamped out. Like, what the hell? But anyway, I digress, and there is one more model to show you. So, the last loco to show you. As you can possibly see, if you look over towards the Rapido box, there's a little Rustin 88, and the awesome thing about that is it's DCC. So I've got him set up on where will be the eventual home for my O gauge shunting layout, which is on top of the shelf above my TV, and of course all my shelving as well. I don't know why I said of course, you don't know how my living room's set up, but essentially I have a Kallax shelf unit with all my books, DVDs, blah 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 on, and the TV unit is beside that, which also doubles up as my PC screen. Anyone who's not used a 55-inch PC screen, well, it's brilliant, but it also has its challenges. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, I'm getting carried away now. So I have my Rustin 48 and it's DCC, and I'm going to go into the control for it at a later date. But essentially, I can do this. So yeah, there we go. DCC sound fitted Acura scale Rustin 88, and it's a very pretty livery as well. I do like it. It's a shame that I'm thinking of changing it. What I really wanted was a black one, but at the time of when I pre-ordered it, I don't recall seeing a black one. But essentially, I want to repaint it into the livery that Pockety wears on the Whitwell and Reefham Railway. So it would match up perfectly with Sir William. And yeah, it would just, I think it'd be awesome. Now that's not to say that the shunting layout is going to represent Whitwell and Reefham in any way, shape or form. All I'm planning is nice little passing loop with 3 or 4 pieces of rolling stock that I can just trundle back and forth, idle around. I'll do a bit of scenery up here. So, of course, the double O gauge Ferris wheel and the trees and my J70 tram pack. I'm going to have to find alternative home, as well as the HON3, I believe they are, or O16.5, whatever they are, the narrow gauge coaches in the background. I bought them years ago, probably about 10-15 years ago at least. They were incorrectly sold as double O gauge, and I didn't look closely at the pictures at the time. Got them for a good price, so that'd be cool. I can have them for my HO stuff. They arrived and I went, whoa, they're big, and then realised what I'd actually purchased. But anyway, yeah, so that is, without waffling on too much, an update on my model railway exploits. at least the O gauge stuff. I do want to jump into the 00 next. Just give a review of where I'm at currently with the NCMA module, because some updates have been made to that since I last looked at it. I've brought a whole bunch of rolling stock, more than I could possibly need, but at the same time it is stuff that I do need, because one thing I've noticed when I've gone to these exhibitions with the NCMA is I have more than enough locomotives to run at the show, but I don't have very much actual rolling stock of my own. Certainly in terms of passenger stock, apart from the Wisbeach and Upwell tramway carriages, of which I've also got the Titfield Thunderbolt one. But other than that, I have 2 of the Hatton's Genesis coaches, a 4-wheeler and a 6-wheeler. The 6-wheeler really isn't happy with the small radius point from Pico. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that, but I've had issues where it's essentially a tight S curve that's created by 2 points for a crossover, and the 6-wheeler just doesn't like running, which at show means it's nixed. You know, there isn't the time to play around and faff with it like you would at home, so that doesn't go out to shows. But anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed this catch up. As I say, I'm going to go into the 00 stuff. Also, I will touch on the HO stuff, because as I say, I want to get that Inglenook back up, get it sorted, work out a way to attach a fiddle stick to it, and actually use the darn thing. I was very excited at the time when I built it, and since I moved here I've done nothing with it, and that's a shame, especially as I have so many locos, so much rolling stock now to use on it, both DC and DCC. None of them are sound fitted yet, but who knows. I do have some DCC sound fitted American rolling stock on pre-order, but we'll go over that in another video, because this one's dragging on now. You guys have got things to do, I've got things to do. So before I start waffling on anymore, all I want to say is thanks for watching, thanks for checking in. I always appreciate comments if you drop those in, and with that said, I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.